So I've been sick as a dog for the last week, and I always find the best medicine is curling up on the couch and watching some good old-fashioned comfort movies. And with my Northern Hemisphere friends about to go into winter, I thought, hey, I'll drop some suggestions guaranteed to make you all feel better. But first... Number 1, no new movies. This one's pretty simple. When I'm coughing up a lung, I don't need to try anything new. Rewatches only. Number 2, no horror. This is kind of me in general because I'm a scaredy cat, but sleep equals health, so I can't watch anything that'll keep me up at night. Number 3, nothing over 2 hours. Get in, get out, enjoy yourself. We're not trying to watch The Godfather here, we're just trying to distract ourselves. And with that out of the way, let's start with my all-time favorite sick movie.
Hold it. What is this? Are you trying to trick me?
This isn't really going out on a limb, it's one of the most beloved family films ever made, and I'm sure you've all watched it, but I challenge you, no, I dare you to rewatch this and not enjoy yourself. A spoof of every fairy tale ever written, Princess Bride feels so comforting because it taps into a strange universal nostalgia. And nostalgia is such a weird thing today because all these Netflix shows are trying to emulate the look and feel of the 80s to try and make a nostalgic connection for Gen Zers who were negative 30 at the time. The Princess Bride does something completely different because it's not really trying to remind you of a specific decade, but it still taps into the audience's nostalgia, no matter their age, by transporting everyone back to the innocence of your childhood with flamboyant physical comedy, zany dialogue, and some comically funny set pieces. The Cliffs of Insanity, the Pit of Despair, the Fire Swamp, come on guys, it's like a live action pantomime, and you can tell that everyone in the cast is having the time of their lives. They're all completely bought in. And on some infantile level, I like to think I get better by osmosis by watching it, as sick little Fred Savage is nursed back to health by his granddad's bedtime story. Initially resistant to Wesley and Buttercup's wild romance,
What is it? What's the matter?
They're kissing again.
little Fred eventually gives in and starts enjoying himself, which is such a perfect metaphor for the viewing experience because, like going to somewhere like, I don't know, Disneyland or another theme park, this is the most fun if you just embrace your inner child and let the ridiculousness wash over you. The dialogue's unapologetically corny, the acting is over the top, but my god is it entertaining. One-liners zing from scene to scene, every minor character adds a little bit of extra spice to it, and the sword fights are low-key brilliantly choreographed. And what better time to completely give into this silly romance than when you're curled up in a ball feeling like an absolute mess in the middle of a random Tuesday. Okay, on to number 2.
Return to your lady friend. Duncan, please return to your lady friend. Please let her know that this conversation was entirely about her.
A feel-good movie list is incomplete without 1, a Pixar movie, which we'll get to soon, and number 2, a coming-of-age movie. The Way Way Back captures the insecurity of being an awkward teen perfectly. Not in the same way as something like Superbad, which highlights the ridiculous overcompensation of prepubescent boys, but you know, that time when you're still not quite sure who you are, and so you focus on either playing a character or completely avoiding human contact. Those weird formative years where everything's embarrassing and there's nothing more aspirational than being cool. And sure, that might not seem like a hoot, but watching Duncan, a reclusive loner, find his confidence one summer at a water park is really wholesome and uplifting. The heart of this film isn't Duncan's search for a girlfriend or popularity, it's his quest for acceptance. His asshole stepdad, played by a brilliantly off-brand Steve Carell, is busy telling him he's a 3 out of 10 and that he needs to
Let's try to get that score up, huh?
so, fuck you, Steve Carell. But a lot of the film is Duncan wrestling with this insecurity before realizing that he shouldn't be trying to live up to other people's standards. And he only learns this through the kindness of strangers when Owen, a strange, energetic man-child who runs the local water park, takes him under his wing. And while there are a lot of serious themes like parenting and discipline in the movie, the simple lesson I take away is the positive influence you can have on a stranger by just saying hello. Which has never seemed more relevant than the phone-obsessed society we're living in now. Like, when was the last time you were on public transport and you said hello to a random person? I can't remember the last time I did it. You probably can't find anyone without AirPods, let alone someone willing to make eye contact with you. Yet here a weird, enigmatic dude is kind enough to chat to the shy Duncan with no judgment, and it goes on to validate the kid's quirky personality and extinguish any self-consciousness he had. I don't know, the movie just makes me want to be a nicer and better person. And ironically, as Duncan becomes more comfortable in his own skin, his mum loses her self-confidence, meaning she's leaning on him by the end. The message is simple. Self-love is vitally important, but we can't unlock the best version of ourselves without a loving support group. Alright, gear change number 3.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Blade kind of breaks rule number 2 because it's about vampires, but come on, Blade isn't a horror movie, it's a comedy if anything.
You tell him it's open season on all suckheads.
One of the first superhero movies I remember watching, Wesley Snipes' deadpan line delivery is just too funny, and the movie opens on one of the greatest 10-minute stretches of mindless violence ever. The fight choreography oscillates between really good and really funny throughout. Like, what the hell is this? And the CGI also goes from sometimes good to downright awful. And when I'm sick, I don't need a thinking man's action movie. I need a movie about a guy who really hates vampires, that looks and feels more like a creature feature flick from the 50s than a modern film. This was back when superhero movies didn't take themselves too seriously, and it's honestly refreshing to see a lead actor dial the cheesiness of their character up to 11. It's not as playful as Burton's Batman, but they were clearly just trying to make something fun, and you can feel that with every cheeky Wesley Snipes smile. Also, you're not watching this for a compelling story, which allows you to doze off mid-movie if required. Perfect sickness movie.
We have to get them back together before they kill us. I can feel it in my bones that Kirsten is capable of murder.
What's better than a bit of love to cure you on a sick day? I'll tell you, a bit of love with Zoe Deutsch and Glenn Powell. It's quite rare to find a rom-com duo whose inherent likability leads to believable sexual chemistry, but these two nail the unlikely lovable duo. In fact, for almost the entire movie, their two characters, Harper and Charlie, have no romantic connection whatsoever. They're just overworked assistants trying to set their bosses up. Of course, this inevitably leads to rom-com feelings and blah blah blah, but for the majority of the film we just get to hang out with two scheming platonic buddies. And you believe it, because these two obviously get on well in real life and they're both very charming individuals. Deutsch has now made enough movies in enough genres to be universally recognizable, but also such a comforting face to see in a lighthearted movie. She can act, she can do comedy, and then Glenn Powell has such a likable presence as well. It's just fun to be around two friendly people who aren't being shoved into an unrealistic relationship, and they balance the friendship before couple trope really well here as well. To be fair, the Parent Trap thing with the bosses can get a bit annoying later in the film when you just want to hang out with Harper and Charlie, but again, it's a sanitized, easy to watch 105-minute hangout with some lovable peeps, and that's good enough for me on a sick day. Alright, on to number 5, and honestly, pick any Pixar film for number 5. They're all reasonably short, they all look gorgeous, and they all make you feel good. Well, actually, a few will make you cry, so skip them, but today we're going to talk about...
You just watch. He's gonna get the bestest, roughest bugs you've ever seen.
Is this considered second tier Pixar today? I don't know. I feel like it's old enough that a lot of Gen Z YouTubers don't really talk about it, and Kevin Spacey plays the bad guy, so it's a bit weird, and the Bugs Life section at Disneyland got removed, but this is a fantastic animated adventure. Similar to the way back, it focuses on a character whose quirks lead to ridicule, but by persisting and receiving support from his friends, Flick learns to embrace his differences as part of what makes him truly special. And what better way to focus on the importance of individualism than in an ant colony? Rank and file, order, tradition, it's a fantastic metaphor for regimented social expectations, with the other circus insects representing the freedom to be unique and pave your own way. I also hadn't really noticed how great the colors are in this movie until this week. Pixar are always amazing at capturing the natural elements, and this uses human items in such a clever way to give relative scale, but the sunsets and the rain and the fog are just so pretty in this movie, which adds an element of unexpected aesthetic beauty to what I originally thought was just an easy to watch kids flick. It was, yeah, this was really good when I was just dying on the couch. Anyway, those are some suggestions. Let me know if you have any go-to movies that you watch when you're sick, and until next one, I will see you then. Alright, see you legends, bye!